Never has watching someone else commit sin been so intriguing.
Alice!
Religion and horror go hand in hand a little too easily. As someone who grew up a devout Catholic, I can attest to the church's creepiness.
Alice, Sweet Alice, follows a young girl whose sister is brutally murdered on the day of her Holy First Communion by a masked killer. Everyone suspects Alice is the murderer, due to her jealousy and abusive treatment of her sibling. And afterwards, more people start being attacked by the same slasher.
Some kind of link here that I can't quite put.
It was originally titled Communion, though there was a fear the film would be looked at as a Christian film and most likely face heaps more backlash. The title is actually taken from column 16 of the Catholic Truth Society publications. It was inspired by the works of Hitchcock and Giallo cinema, as well as the classic Don't Look Now by Nicholas Roeg, from which it takes numerous visual elements and themes.
The credits alone have more atmosphere and character than some entire films do.
With exceptional music that rouses mixed emotions, the sound of a girl whispering a frantic prayer to the Lord, and gloomy visual of her in her communion dress, it gets you right into the correct frame of mind for what you're about to experience.
Now at the hour of our death, amen.
The soundtrack is phenomenal, and there's a ton of variety. It's all being carefully chosen to accent a sequence in the best way possible. Like Hitchcock, it knows when to be quiet and when to let the orchestra go wild. This scene on the stairs even uses the famous stabbing music from Psycho.
Alice is a wee cow. There's no other way to say it.
She's jealous of the attention her sister gets over her, and wants it to be her communion because of the fuss everyone makes over it. She takes this frustration out on those around her, but no one gets it worse than her sister. However, she goes beyond typical sibling bullying. She's a nasty piece of work. Her envy for her kinder, more innocent sister is felt 100% through the performance. I really hated her.
Fuck you, bitch.
But just because she's a troubled kid with a motive, does that make her a killer? Well, that's what makes the film so riveting. There's lots of evidence for her being the killer, yet it seems improbable she would be, and her parents are sure she didn't do it. As the film plays out, your decision will grow stronger one way or the other.
Do you know for sure who stabbed your aunt?
No.
Did you stab your aunt?
No.
The film looks great and is dripping in religious iconography and art. There's barely a scene that goes past without you seeing a picture of Jesus or a cross in the frame.
It gives it a unique identity, and many people have claimed it's anti-Catholic for this reason. I never got that impression. To me, it can be seen in two separate ways. When the film cuts to statues of Jesus and such during the film's proceedings, it seemed more of a commentary on if theism was real. If it is, how could these God-fearing religious people go through such pain and anguish with their saviour always watching over them? Well, it's to punish them for their sins, as they're all flawed people and they commit acts of sin throughout the movie. You can also look at it as a statement that God doesn't exist. These people devote their lives with meaningless routines, expensive objects of attachment, and strict discipline for nothing in return.
You may think it's just your run-of-the-mill slasher, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. The film's killing scenes actually comprise of a very small fraction of its runtime.
There's plenty of time devoted to showing what everyone's going through, the police investigation, Alice's home life getting worse as suspicions grow, and there's even a side plot involving her creepy pedo landlord downstairs.
The killer's outfit is the stuff of nightmares. It's one of the creepiest costumes ever committed to celluloid.
It's simple but effective. A translucent mask with makeup on it and a yellow raincoat. Another nod to its inspiration from Don't Look Now. The violence in the film is very delicately portrayed. When someone is killed, it's not over the top or gratuitous. It's very much a realistic and cold event, just like in real life. It almost feels like a snuff film at times. It's so raw.
You pushed up against me once before, you disgusting slob. You'll never do that again.
It reminded me of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that came out 2 years prior. That first scene where a man is bludgeoned to death with a hammer with no music, and his body is convulsing on the ground before he's whacked again. You feel every stab wound. It's really unsettling. Also, the killer isn't a precision striking hitman. They're very awkward and don't do the best job. A full 20 years before Scream would be praised for making a killer the same way.
It's one of the eeriest slashes ever made, and had a ton of balls for the time it was released. It makes you nervous, scared, and entertained for its entire runtime, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's a fan of cinema in general.
Where are you? Why are you running away from me?
Didn't I tell you never to follow me?
Where's my dog?